Hello and welcome to Play Talk Repeat. For this, just a quick little review of Quidditch Champions.
I thought you were going to say Hogwarts Legacy then.
I nearly did. Quidditch Champions. So a little bit about the game before we get into the review. So it's developed by Unbroken Studios. It's published by Warner Bros. Games. It was released on September the 3rd, so about 3 days ago as of recording. It is included with PS Plus, but it's also been released on all current gen consoles apart from the Switch, which is still TBA, as we have come to expect. Can we have a nice opening statement from Big Nose, please?
Yeah, so you can actually. So I think Quidditch Champions as a free game is fine. I think it's a good, nice little free game that you can pick up. I think that it's kind of like Rocket League, but worse. Because one of the benefits of Rocket League is because of its physics-based gameplay. It's kind of got like infinite skill ceiling, like infinite depth. But with Quidditch Champions, it's much more on rails. It's for a different audience. I think it does the job well. I think it's quite accessible. There are a few issues when it comes to game feel and like inputs not quite timing with the UI and that sort of thing, which does affect its accessibility. But I think it's all right. It's good. It's good with the bros. I'll say that it's not as good single player. I think that they could have done a bit more because they clearly had the budget for some nice cinematics and the art style is very good. And they have a bunch of dialogue and that sort of thing. It's just what they chose to do with it wasn't particularly interesting and engaging. But yeah, and if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a five out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay,
Yeah.
grand. Lewis?
Um, Honestly, yeah, I'd probably give it a similar score. I really did enjoy playing it, especially online at the start. But as the hours gone by, I remember not the hours, but as the days went by and we were still playing it or just playing again, it did sort of lose its charm a bit. I think because, like Niall said, Rocket League is just a much better game. And Rocket League is pretty much the only sort of game you can compare it to, and I think it lacks in a lot of areas that will keep it super engaging for a long time. I think the people who'll still be playing this in like a couple of weeks or months are just people who are obsessed with like Harry Potter and like they just love Harry Potter to death. I feel outside of that, yeah, the gameplay doesn't offer a ton out of like being fun for like an hour or so occasionally, probably. I'd give it probably a 5 out of 10 as well.
5 out of 10 across the board so far. Big Al?
Big Al. No, yeah, I'd probably have to agree with both of them. I think I prefer Rocket League, but it's just that tiny bit hint of difference where it's fun, but I do not want to be like a keeper the entire time. So I'm glad that I could be a chaser as well.
Yeah.
But if you asked me to be a beater, I did not want to do that. That's why I was glad Oliver was like, "I'll be the beater." But yeah, I'd probably give Quidditch a 6 out of 10. It was just like that thing where it wasn't like bang average. But if I was to rate it as a totally single player game, it would probably be like a 3. I think it's just
three's high.
Yeah, yeah. Look, maybe a 2.5 then. How's that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
But yeah, it's not fun single player. Like you're just playing with bots. It's not fun. Like you have that like triumphant moment where you're about to catch the snitch with your bros, and it's just it's fun times with the boys. That's essentially what this game is. I would not pay more than probably £8 for this game if I was to buy it.
For it.
Well, no, if they said that it's not on PlayStation Plus and I had to pay for it, I would not pay more than £8.
But I think we would have. Because I think it's been reviewed all right, and I think we wanted to play it before we knew it was on PS Plus. I reckon we would have. I reckon we would have done it. I don't think we would have been happy about it, but I reckon we would have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in hindsight.
Yeah, in hindsight. So, so for me, you gave it a 6 out of 10, didn't you, Alex? I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, PvP I thoroughly enjoyed. I think they have done the best they could possibly do with Quidditch. Quidditch as a sport in the world of Harry Potter was written with I feel there's very little thought put into it. They've had to basically change the game as much as they can with it still being Quidditch. There's for example, they've taken one of the beaters out of play, so there's only 6 players on a team now, and the catching the snitch no longer ends the game, and it gives you 30 points instead of 150. So I think all the changes they made are really positive. I think it's great, and I think without changing the game completely to something that is no longer Quidditch, they have done the best they can possibly can. And from from a PvP point of view, it is very fun. I think I don't know whether it's got the legs to survive or anything like that, but it is very fun. I think there even in PvP there are some issues that we'll get into, but I think if they nail like the cosmetics and the season pass and all that kind of stuff and make it good and fun and make it stuff that you want.
Goku.
Excuse me? Goku?
Goku. Yeah, Goku in Quidditch.
You want to put Goku in Quidditch?
I think Alex would play it if Goku was in Quidditch.
If they said Goku was a playable character, I'd probably go back and play it.
Yeah, that's sad that that's true. Yeah, I think if they nail that, it's got some life in it. And I think it might stick around. It's just unfortunate that it's coming out now, and that it's if it's going to die, then I think it's going to die because of the Astrobes and the Space Marines and the Silent Hills and all that kind of stuff. It's coming out at the busiest time of the year, so if this was to survive, it needs people to be playing it right now, because once people drop off, they're not going to come back to it. I don't think.
I mean, I also feel like the issue, though, partly in that it's going to die, or sorry, I don't want to say it's going to die, it might die, is I have not seen basically any promotion or any sort of advertising or just anything about this game whatsoever, to the point where I'm pretty certain a lot of people probably don't even know it's come out. I feel like the only people who know it's out are the people who are actively keeping up with this game's existence. And if you weren't aware of that, I feel like you just have no idea that it even exists, which I don't think is a good thing for any game. That's definitely not going to help it survive, which I think is a bit silly because it's a Harry Potter game, so I would have thought there would have been more behind it. But again, at the end of the day, that's also part of the issue, is that it's a Harry Potter game, and Quidditch is a very specific thing from a very specific series, and it's not necessarily a widespread thing that anyone is just going to get into or really care about. So I feel like the fact, I feel like the fact that it's already on a niche is like a bit detrimental, because like, again, compared it to Rocket League, I don't want to compare it to Rocket League, but Rocket League is just football. Everyone understands football. You kick ball into goal, like that's fun. Yeah. Having to learn the rules of Quidditch and explain Quidditch, which, to be fair, overall is quite simple, but at the same time, it isn't just going to be something that any person is going to see and say, I want to play that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's probably quite a few things where if the game fails, it's going to be due to quite a lot of factors. But I don't want to put it on the game's downfall or anything. Hopefully it can survive and like keep a player base. I'm just struggling to believe how it's going to do that, really.
They need to add more. They need to add more to it, I think. Like,
well, what can they add?
Well, like more stadiums and shit like that, and just more. It'll all be about cosmetics, and I think so. What they are adding, which is confirmed, is 6v6 gameplay.
Yeah,
which I think is important.
I'm interested in how they're gonna make that work, especially with the Seeker. Like, are they just gonna be a chaser until the snitch is out? So they're just watching until they get the 30 seconds of gameplay.
I think so.
I don't fully know how it went in the playtest. I think it might have been 5v5 in the playtest, and I might be hearing wrong that 6v6 is going on. It might be 5v5, which would make more sense. Right. Okay. So you just have one of your chasers be a seeker as well, kind of thing. Which again, it would. I think that would make sense, because the whole having to switch between like keeper and chaser, for me, it's like you just like I for example, like Lewis played keeper for us quite a lot, and I saw him forget to switch back quite a lot. Like, and and
that's in multiplayer as well. In single player, I thought, like, not that single player was ever hard, but I thought it was awful, the switching system in single player, having to switch between 6 different people,
especially if you accidentally press the emote.
Yes,
because then you have to wait for it to go away.
It's such a stupid system, because it would have been way more efficient if you could just press left, up, down, and right on the D-pad to switch to who you want to switch to, but you have to press down.
Like, why are you
and then pick. Stupid.
Yeah. I don't think this game is going to last regardless of what they do.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you for why.
Tell me why.
So I think that this game is really, really engaging. I think we'll all agree. It's really engaging when you're in the game. And I think the two roles where it's most engaging outside of the chaser is the seeker and the beater. And the reason for this is because when you're the seeker, like it is a very intense minute of gameplay where you're just hyper focused on getting the snitch. Like there's nothing that can break your concentration whilst it's happening, which is really, really enjoyable. And I think the beater, what I found when I played beater anyway, is it's like a very good support role. Like when I only switched to the beater really when the snitch was out, and I would just constantly hounding the other seeker, and I felt like I was like sort of part of the chase, which is really good. The issue is the time in between games when you're just feeling like, I don't really fancy playing another game. Like this is either when you're on the game itself or whether you're just like deciding what game to play. And I think it's entirely down to what I said in the opening statement, which is the skill ceiling. Because with Rocket League, to bring it up again, yeah, and it's other competitive games as well, like Overwatch or Valorant. One of the reasons why you want to keep playing is you want to keep improving. You're like, oh, well, I don't think there's been a time when I played Quidditch where I've finished a game and I'm like, oh, I could have done this better. And that's even after like a couple hours of playing, like, oh, I could have done this better, could have made this decision differently, or if I improved mechanically in this way, then it would improve. I think there is some extra depth to improving mechanically, and there might be a couple of hidden strats. And I think that if you get a really, really coordinated team, you can do some really cool stuff. But with the way the game is, for the majority of people, I just don't think that's there. I think it is affected by a lack of a ranking system, and if they implemented that, like a ranked matchmaking system, and if they implemented that, then that might improve longevity for a little bit. But then I think players will soon realize that it is either not in their hands, or it's just one of them where they don't feel like they can improve much more than what they're already doing. But yeah, I will say though that the snitch change in particular, I think, is the best design decision of the whole game. I think the snitch, whilst not breaking the game's pace, still consistently feels like a game-winning thing. Like if you get that, like the first snitch, sure, but if you get that second snitch, 9 times out of 10, you're winning the game of it because of how it's paced out. Because it always comes in with 2 minutes to go. It takes about 90 seconds to catch it, maybe a minute to catch it, and that should win the game, if not give you enough points to win the game. So yeah, that's what I think anyway of the longevity of Quidditch. I think it's dead. I think it's done better than Concord. I'll say that.
Oh, thank God.
No, yeah, I think I agree in pretty much every aspect. They're just like all of us saying like they just need to like add things, but I don't know what they can add that isn't going to be sort of like a gimmick of going, oh, they added this thing, I'll try it out for 10 minutes and then just sort of be done with it again.
You know what's mad?
Yeah,
you know what's mad? So in terms of stadiums, as far as I know, when you play the World Cup, there are different stadiums for each country. I don't know if anyone can confirm that. I haven't got that. Did you get that far now?
No,
so I've read that, but they're not in PvP.
Right.
Which is really strange.
That is weird.
Yeah. No, but I didn't get that far. I didn't get that far in the story. So if we're talking about the campaign mode, it's just mad boring. It is.
Oh yeah, it's just garbage.
There's no reason at all to play the beater. There's no reason at all to play the keeper at all.
Yeah, so you just play.
Yeah, you just play chaser and yeah. I didn't even play seeker. I just stayed as the chaser and scored.
I would just be chaser. I'd get 70 points and then I'd catch the snitch and then I'd win.
Yeah, well, to put it into perspective, it's been out for 3 days now, and how long to beat? There have been 2 completions of single player.
Yeah, like that doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah, for it being free on PlayStation Plus as well, that's ridiculous.
Even the small amount of dialogue that is in the story mode, it just isn't interesting. It's the most just like bog standard, just sort of like filler dialogue in the world. It's not.
Yeah.
There's just nothing about it that's remotely interesting or engaging. And there is nothing worse, at least I've experienced in that game, than playing CPUs. Because even on the harder difficulties, because you unlock which I think is really dumb, by the way. You unlock more difficulties as you play the game instead of it just giving you the option to play the difficulty you want. So you have to start off on literal like baby mode where they just don't play really, and even when you get to the harder modes, they still just don't really do anything. So yeah, it's just a really just mind-numbing experience, I guess. If you're gonna play this game, you're playing it for the multiplayer.
Yeah, definitely about that. It's multiplayer focused. On the subject of CPUs, do you remember the other day when we was playing that PvP game and their beta was just battering our keeper constantly?
Yes. Yeah.
that is programmed into the CPUs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was playing on baby mode, and my beta that I wasn't playing as was just killing their keeper. It was doing absolutely nothing else. He was sat right next to the keeper, just battering them until he died. And half the time, that I was just scoring into an open net, and the ball was, because when the keeper's dead, it does a normal kick off from the center. So I was just able to grab it every time. It was ridiculous. I think in PvP, if it is going to continue, because everyone's learning that strat now, where if you're the beater, you just hassle the keeper constantly. They need to sort that out, because
they
it
do need
is
to fix that. Yeah, because there's no, as a keeper as well. At least with the other roles, there's ways to dodge. You can kick as the keeper, but once you've kicked, there's a cooldown on that as well. So it's really easy for you to just sort of get.
Whereas the beater has two ways of attacking you. They've
yeah,
got the bludger and they've got a tackle.
Yeah.
So they're always going to win that fight every single time. And you can't even, as a keeper, you can't even run away from him. You're stuck by. You're stuck by
you're literally stuck. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that needs sorting. But yeah, I didn't give it a score, by the way. I give it a 6 out of 10. So
okay.
All right, okay,
got
so
a nice
5.5.
5.5 average.
That's low for us.
It is quite low.
It's not in the sixes.
It's not a 6.75, no. So around the face, Alex, you got anything more you want to say?
Don't play single player, just play multiplayer. Even then, you need 3 people, because if you've got that if you've got that open slot, you've just got a random person, and who knows what they'll end up doing.
Some of them are
Because I think,
some of them are ridiculous.
yeah, some of them are shocking.
If you have voice chat on, I've heard some funny stuff. I'll say that. Like, yeah, there's people just shooting the shit. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, but that happens in every voice chat.
That is true. For me, I'll just say what I said at the start. I think that play it if you can get it for free, because you'll have like 3
yeah,
4
get it
hours.
now.
You'll have some fun with it.
Yeah, you'll have like 3-4 hours of fun, maybe a bit longer. But yeah, I would not pay for it at all.
No, it's 25 quid, by the way. I just looked it up.
25 quid.
It's 25 quid. You can get it for like 20, some places, but yeah, it's 25 quid as standard.
Yeah, I could not recommend to anyone to pay 25 quid for it, to be honest with you. I don't think it has enough content to justify
No,
it.
just claim it now, and then...
Again, and I hate saying this now because it feels like it happens with a lot of games. It feels like a game that should just be free to play and just make people pay for a battle pass and just...
Yeah, but there is a battle pass in it, though, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
if you're going to make people pay for the game.
It seems to be free, though, as far as
we
know.
don't know what we're doing with the battle pass.
Zero, remember?
I couldn't find a screen to buy those keys.
Yeah, you seem to earn those from... Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any microtransactions that I could see. You seem to earn that currency very slowly by just playing the game. Maybe I'm wrong, and there is microtransactions somewhere.
It's good. It's a good step in the right direction. It's just, unfortunately, it's getting this way. It's getting to the point in the industry now where every multiplayer game that's coming out is either free to play with microtransactions, or it fails.
Thinking about it, if you think the only real paid games that have like a multiplayer thing that consistently sell well are COD
and FIFA
and sports games.
Yeah.
That's it. They seem to be the only ones that can survive the climate, because those sports games are pretty much only being made by EA for the most part, like 99% of them. So they just sort of have a lock on that. If you want to play like American football, that's your only option. If you want to play football, regular football, basketball, like those are your only options. And it's the same with like Call of Duty. I wouldn't say it's the same, but Call of Duty's just got that staying power where it's COD. Like it's just going to do well because it's Call of Duty. And I don't think there's any other games, especially newer IPs, that can possibly compete with it. It's just not going to happen when you've got all these free-to-play games that you can just access instantly right now. And it is sad, but it's just the way it is. And I mean, we literally saw this happen with Concord, like literally, like in the past week. They released the game, charged 50 quid for it, or maybe it was more. And they've completely removed the game off shelves now, and they're just sort of getting rid of it and assumingly pretend it didn't happen until they re-release it free to play at some point.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's difficult. I get the games want to make money and stuff, but I feel like if they want to make money, the best way to do it is to make people pay for microtransactions and just make it free.
Going down the route of the mobile market, isn't it?
Yeah, which is sad, but
it's just one of those. It's just such a hard sell when you've got 3 or 4 games, maybe more, in your Steam library, which either you paid for free, that all your friends have and that you can play.
Yeah.
Or this new thing which you even know nothing about, or isn't as good, or is as good, you know. people just
cost
don't
money.
want to. Yeah, people just don't want to make the jump.
Which I think is valid. I don't
Yeah,
blame
I
people
agree.
for that.
Yeah. No, it's just the way it's going.
Just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. But yeah, that was our quick little review of Quidditch Champions. So collectively a 5.5 out of 10. So if it's free, well, it is free. If you got PS Plus, go play it. Don't pay for it. There's no unless you are a die-hard Harry Potter
Yeah,
fan.
unless you're a Potterhead, like to the extreme.
To close it out. So what's everyone's Hogwarts houses, by the way? Here's with it.
Ravenclaw.
We're all different, right?
So I'm Gryffindor, Ravenclaw.
I'm Slytherin.
Hufflepuff.
I'll vote that down. We've got all four houses.
Yeah,
I
all
want to be a
four.
Slytherin, but unfortunately Pottermore fucking hates me. No matter how many times I tried to change the answers to those questions,
Yeah,
it
it's 'cause it
spits
knows you're
out
trying to cheat.
Gryffindor.
I'm just a big nerd.
But you're a big
Yeah.
nerd. I could have told you that.
Alright, basic ass bit.
Until next
Yeah.
time, we shall see you
Yeah.
later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Play the outro.
I played the outro. I played it. This is the issue with.